What about contacting the dead through astral projections? That's what we're talking about today. I'm your guy Frank. Wonderful people. Let's get to it. Let's talk about this. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Astral projection, you've taken your soul and you're putting your soul in the astral plane where the dead are said to reside. So it should be, right? This should be done. This should be easily done. Robert Monroe also talked about it. I got to mention him. He is a pioneer in the field. He has several books out there. He's now deceased, so that's where he lives, right? Um, yeah, so, and of course, I'm going to bring in my own experiences. There's going to be story time here as well. Most of it's story time in this one. So let's get to it. You have an out of body experience. What can you do to contact your deceased relatives? Well, have I met anyone that was deceased in the astral? A lot of people, right? Yeah, I have come in contact with deceased relatives, deceased superstars, and not the superstars like I was expecting, like some of the big names of the past. But I have seen a few of the smaller names in the past because they had more spiritual practices around helping people. Yeah, so that's a thing too. And well, let's go to story time, I guess, right? When was I first able to contact deceased relatives in the astral? And that happened pretty soon into my ability to tap into the astral realm. And that happened really soon with, oh my goodness, with just about everybody. I think the biggest, so your grandparents passed first, so it's going to be them first. I tried to contact my great grandparents. I didn't really know them that much. I knew my great grandmother on my mother's side, but it was a no go. There was, yeah, uh, I don't know. Maybe I didn't know her well enough. You would think that if this was all about imagination, that I would imagine it and just conjure it up and go for a ride. Uh, but no, it's the real deal, and if it can't be done, it won't be done. you, all right. So that wasn't done. Of course, I had two grandparents on both sides of the family, and those great grandparents, yes, great grandparents. Uh, I haven't been able to contact them whatsoever. I have been able to contact my yes, my grandparents, both sets of grandparents. Some of them are more regular, and some of them are one and done. So let's see who to start with. Well, one of the biggest appearances of my astral life by an ancestor from my past was my grandfather on my mother's side. And he would come to me, well, we had issues, honestly. Not here in the physical, but because I was putting up with his daughter, which is my mom, and she was having all kinds of personality disorders and problems, physical problems later in life, and I had to put up with that. And I was like, what the heck? What the hell? Why is she like this? Gotta be Pops. Her father did all this to her and made her this way, and now I got to put up with it, right? And that was a feeling, and I was airing that out, and I was saying that, and he visited me in the astral. He did not like it. He was not very evolved at that point. He was newly dead. I have a thing, I call it new dead and old dead, but got to kind of revise that because the people there, they don't like that. They don't like that term. I'll tell you later. So the new dead they're basically people that have newly passed on and aren't so evolved and connected to their full self. They're still very earthly in some ways. So you can upset them by doing things to their physical belongings in the physical world, or having a beef with them while you're alive in the physical world, or a beef with some of the people in the physical world. They're still connected to it. The deceased, they pass on, and they're still connected to this world. They're connected through feelings and visualizations, and they do apparently visit this world a lot. I'm not really connected to all that. I hear that secondhand, and from inferences on what they say they have, what they know. And the only way they can know that is if they're peering in on our lives. And as disturbing, yes, as that may be to you, okay, we're going there, right? Do they peer in on you when you are having sex? Or do they peer in on you when you're in the shower? When you're doing unmentionable things? Right? From what I know, a lot of those are a no. It is not. They are not. Um, because even they have a filter, right? Do you want to see your kids having, you know, the thing, doing the thing? No, with their partners in life. No, you really don't want to see that. You don't want to see that? Or your folks doing it? No, no, don't want to see that. Right? So you don't. That's where it is. Do other astral people see you in the shower and see you doing your nasty business? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But it is not. On the other side, it's not even rated. It's not even the 100,000th. Well, maybe thing that people in the astral want to see or experience. They don't really care, because I think in the beginning, I'm betting people are very nosy about what they missed and what the world really looked like, and they want to see people in the shower, they want to see people naked, and they want to see people doing things that they couldn't see in the physical, like getting busy. And it quickly becomes evident to them it's not that important and it's not that valuable, and it's basically the low end of what they were expecting, which is almost nothing, right? It's not all that. And quickly they like, your relatives, they're not having it because they don't want to see it. For the most part. For the most part. So like if you're getting busy and you are conceiving a relative in the future, they might be there for that. They might be there for that, man. They might be there for that. Sorry. There are different rules on the other side. There are different rules. It doesn't seem that way to them. It's kind of like how we would look at maybe two children becoming friends. Like we say, this 3-year-old boy and this 3-year-old girl, and they're friends now, and we go, oh, look at them, they're boyfriend and girlfriend now, oh, look, they're kissing, oh. That's kind of what it is to them. They don't see the nitty gritty aspect of it. They're not like, oh, wow, look at this, look at that, I gotta make notes of that, this is dirty. They're not there. That's not it. I think because a lot of sexuality is physical. And when you lose that body, a lot of it just goes boop. They don't really care anymore. It seems to be a thing for the new dead, though, because they still have these habits and to some degree desires, because like you missed out on something. Like guys, will be like, oh, I wasn't able to get with her. I want to see what she's doing in her, doing the thing. I want to see her naked. I want to see that because I wasn't able to do that in life. That's where they'll be. And then, of course, when they do, maybe the first time they're like, oh, wow, that's fantastic. But, how long does that last? And then it's, yeah. So it is a lower, baser energy that they're tapping into. And the lower, baser energies, they don't last long. They don't fulfill. And we just go on to something else. What they're really going to want, your ancestors are really going to want to see, and the not so new dead want to see, is life paths and advancements, because that has to do with them as well, right? They're probably gonna come back for another one of these lives. They wanted to see how this stuff works. They want to see what the path is and the choices that one makes and the things one does and the feelings that one has and how people dress and keep themselves and live their lives and treat other people and treat themselves. All of it, how it all works together and what that leads to in life. That's tremendously important to them, because that's how they're going to grow, whether they choose to come back or not. And that's how all the living people that they care about are going to grow, that they're trying to help out. And that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother topic. The your people on the other side, your ancestors on the other side, are trying to talk to you pretty regularly, apparently. And you can visit them in the astral, and that will straighten out so much of the communication issues. Now, my grandfather on my mother's side, we finally straightened out. He complained to me. I complained to him, and he complained to me in the astral, right? I complained to him by calling him names and being harsh to him here and blaming him for things that he didn't have any real control over. He didn't know what he was doing. So many people come down here and they're trying to do the best they can, and they mess stuff up. They're trying. They're loving, and they're trying, and it gets messed up. And there's plans within plans within plans here. They come in, your kids come in with their own agendas, and you have to live with that. And their agenda might not be at all your agenda. It might be messed up, and you'll have to deal with it. Where are we going with that? But we do the best we can, and then you get to the other side and you figure out all the things that went wrong and how many ways it could have went right, and you see that it was there was so many opportunities to fulfill so many of the desires you had, so many, everything you ever dreamed or wanted or played around with and thought was almost done. There was definitely ways to do all those things and fulfill all those dreams that you didn't fulfill, that you're going to want to come back, because you're going to be like, oh my goodness, that person, that job, being a millionaire or whatever it is that turns your wheels, you're going to see that it was this far away, this close, or that it was right in front of your face all the time. All you had to do was accept it. Everything you wanted was so close to happening, but it didn't happen because you looked the other way, or you weren't in tune with it, or you just didn't really want it, or something like that. That's why people are like, oh my God, I was that close to everything I dreamed of. I got to go back. No, I have to go back. I can do this. I can totally do this. All I had to do was that, and all that other greatness would have happened. You got to be kidding me. I can do this. I'm going back. I'm going to straighten myself out here before I go back there. And this next life is going to be a home run. I'm going to hit it's going to be, this next life is going to be out of the park. What happens every time. And then your shadow comes with you, right? So it's not all positive. Your negative aspects, the negative aspects we have about us, come with us. Think of them as baggage. It's not necessarily karma. There is some karma. Karma is just basically stuff we want to straighten out. We can't live with it going forward. We don't want it. We want to straighten it out. We did all this messy stuff, and we would like to make amends on that. That's what karma is. I mean, you can just say, nah, screw it. I'm done with it. You won't feel good about it, and maybe you'll try and fulfill it in some other way, but that does happen every now and then. But your relatives are out there. They're trying to get in touch with you all the time. But if you can have a face-to-face sit down with them, it straightens things. You can have an actual conversation, right? It can help a lot. So the conversation between me and my grandfather was that I was talking a lot of trash with him, and then he would meet me in the astral and be angry and abusive. Well, as abusive as you can be in the astral. So what he did is that he would at one point he was in the astral and he was very angry and he was yelling at me and yelling and yelling, but I couldn't understand a word he was saying. And it was all this anger just pouring out and pouring out, and I could feel it. That should have been enough for me to say, oh, wait a second, guy's got a beef with something I'm doing. Maybe I should take a look at what I'm doing. Well, that wasn't enough. So another instance, not too long after that, I was in the astral and I was in this. We tend to be in spaces and follow people to spaces that or builds in the astral that they are in alignment with, and we are also in alignment with. Now we can mix it up. And I was in one of those places where my grandfather could be in alignment with, and he basically attacked me as much as you can attack a person in the astral. It's all energy, it's all consciousness. And I don't know where he learned it or he was trying to do it, but he lunged at me in anger and like that. But he went through me, and then he did it again, and then he did it again, and he did it again, and it was like I could feel the anger, and I was like, what in the world is going on here? And the rage that I was feeling that had nothing to do with me, and I could tell this that he was angry at me and trying to lunge at me, and rah, 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 rah. I just got out of there and I just woke up and came to my body and was like, oh wow, well that's an experience. And it took me about a day to figure the whole thing out instead of just being like in the thought of what was going on. And like, oh, so he's angry about me. He's angry. He's not happy about. Well, I linked it because I started to tell the BS. I started to say trash about him, and I was like, oh, so because when I said trash about him and said his name, it also came up the memory of him trying to attack me in the astral. And so I put the two together. I was like, oh, so I'm attacking him here, and he's attacking me there. I get it now. Truce. And like I said, it's not our fault when we're here. But he was new dead at that point. He was still inert. I don't know if that's a word, but I use it quite frequently. He was still connected to his physical existence, but lesser so, because the emotions you send to people when you think about them, they get that, dude. They get that. They feel that. When you are thinking about them, for example, so it's Christmas time. All your relatives are dead. You think about your relatives at Christmas time in these certain set ways. You are contacting them as true as if you were calling them on a cell phone. They feel it, they know it. A lot of times they come to you in the physical to share that moment with you. Yeah. If it's a new surrounding, they may not align with it enough to see it, but they will see the Christmas tree you have. They'll see the old ornaments that they recognize. They'll see you. They'll see the situation. They'll feel what you're feeling. That's communication. Yeah, it definitely does happen. And I do that on purpose. So I would suggest you do it on purpose too. Also, you can just go to the physical, to the astral, and visit them, look them up, right? When I did that with my grandfather, we met at a mutually alignment place, I guess, a mutually aligned place. It has to be something they both are aligned with. I can't bring them to somebody that's been dead 30 years. I can't bring them to like a computer lab down at the university or something, a build of that. I can't bring them because the flat screens there, they don't align with the whole new way things are and new feelings about history and all that stuff. They won't align with any of that. So we met on a build of a baseball field, and I say it's a build because it's all just energy. It's not an actual baseball field. There's not actual grass there and actual dirt there. It's in the astral. Okay, so just somebody imagined it and built it, and okay, so we're there, and I was like, oh, here you are. Well, actually, I was in the astral, and I remember somebody familiar calling me. It's a feeling. Like they can feel you when you're in the astral. When they become old, dead, or become more evolved, they can feel that you are in the astral. You're in their realm now. They can feel it. It's almost like, kind of like you might go to a department store and kind of know that one of your friends is in there, or that a person came to work today and you haven't seen them in a while. You just got that feeling that they're there, or you're going to get a call from somebody. It's kind of like that feeling. And so he kind of gave me a call. I kind of felt that I was being called by somebody that I knew to some place. So I followed it, and I just um, teleported basically to a baseball field. And I looked around. I was like, okay, it's a baseball field. I don't see anybody there. And then I turned around fully, and then I saw my grandmother and my grandfather. Now they are twin flames. They are souls like this. They travel together to support each other. From what I can gather, it's a whole. It's like this. Okay, it's a whole soul that's split off. Now that they're intertwined, right? They're twin flames. They are made. They are of one. They are one. Like they say they are. They're not a couple. They are one. Anyway, so anytime I see him, he's not far behind. I have never really visited her on her own. My grandmother there. It's always me visiting him. Okay, so when I visited him there, I went to them, and they recognized me, and I recognized them. And at this point, I am very well capable in the astral, and they don't look anything like they looked when they were here. Now, when I see people like this in the astral, I'll get flashes. Your mind interprets what your experience is. I got a flash of what they look like when this guy here knew them, so that it was an identifier. So I knew who they were because that's. But then I got more of a look of what they look like now, what they choose to embody now, which is basically a 25-year-old self. That's what they looked like if you saw them. Usually around 25 to 30 years old is what people choose to look like in the astral. So I saw them there, and he just handed me kind of like this. I should really have props here, right? He just kind of handed me like this, and I was like, oh. And I took it, and it was just a small daily planner and a journal. And it said right on top, journal. It was brown leather. I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're trying to tell me. And this was important. And so I skedaddled it back to the physical and got up and wrote it down, put it in my journal because it was important. My grandfather handed me a journal so that I know that he's trying to tell me, hey man, you need to do journaling. It'll help you. A message from the astral. And it has definitely helped me. It's brought me right here to this point right now. It's a pivotal pinnacle, whatever big word, incredible, I'm trying to throw all these words in there. It's been a really, 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 it's been one of the biggest helps in my life at all. Whether physical or astral, it's just the biggest one of the things that has really, really, really helped me out in life. It would be like getting a college education that helped you get a job and get a career and form a life. That level of importance. And actually that did help in that aspect too, because I did go to college and I was able to write better because I had some of that aspect, because I had been writing a lot because he told me to write a lot, basically journalize. That was after I had gone to college. That was before I did my ridiculous master's degree, which was a waste of time and waste of money. But that's another video. Anyway, so yes, they can tell you, they can give you messages. I mean, he could have said, this long thing. He said nothing. And this is common. This is common. I also had a visit I also visited my other grandfather on my father's side. My father was still alive at this point. Most people were still alive at this point, except for my two grandparents or just my grandmother or something. I don't know. It's hard to, I'd have to look at all the dates. But anyway, I'm trying to put together all the dates. I was in the astral. I was doing really nothing. And then I got this strong pull. And so I was like, okay, let's do this. And I followed it. And Dr. Monroe would talk about the spheres around the earth that expand out. There's all these layers of experience and places and stuff like that. And I just went zooming past all of it. And at this point, this was new in my astral projection career, life, whatever. It was the farthest I had ever gone. It was like halfway to the moon. So I went way out, and there was like this cloudy area, like almost like a ring around the planet. And I went into that. I was letting whatever was pulling me pull me into there, and then it started to it was all clouded like this, and then it started to all clear. And I was in a kitchen area. My grandfather was there, and he was beaming with love and light and wisdom and just divinity, right? And then he went like this, and this is kind of what he used. And what was in there was tomatoes and basil. He had made a tomato salad, basically. The astral, I'll eat it, doesn't hurt, it's just energy. It tasted amazing, and it tasted like the real thing, and I was blown away. I still don't know how he did it, but yeah, I was not expecting anything, and my expectations in the astral blank. I try not to expect anything. That way I can see what's actually there, or what's actually there in alignment enough with me for me to perceive it. it was amazing. And I looked up at him like, and he looked back like, yeah, right. And I looked around, I looked at the table, I looked at the walls, I looked at the tiles, everything was so well done. Now, I have to say, this build was not of anything. It was in alignment with me and with him, but it was not one of his. From what I know, it's not one of the places that he ever lived in the physical at all. Um, but it got us together, and then I think it ended by me. I wanted to explore the whole place. I was like, yeah, let's explore this. And then what happened? I think he ended it. He was like, no, you have to go back. I think he was, didn't say anything, but he was like he just kind of pushed me back. And I was like, okay. And then I came back to the physical, well, a lot quicker than when I had gone out, way, 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 way out there. Um, and I was blown away by this whole thing. The whole thing. The colors were so bright. I can still remember them. They were so bright. The red, red, red of the tomatoes and the black and white tiles on the floor, which was from his time, which was like the 1930s and 40s. Um, I look on his face and the feeling I got, the feeling is just as real as the telepathy and feeling that you get from people is just as real, more real than the things you see there. And so I don't know if what the actual message was. Like, it was one of these things and it was filled with tomatoes and stuff and basil, right? I don't know if he was telling me that you should make this stuff or he was basically saying, I think he was just saying goodbye because I never saw him after that. Nope. I had one visit of who I think it might have been him, but he just disappeared after that. And I think I know why, because Dr. Monroe talked about this as well. He talked about that whole area. It's the last timer's ring. He was probably in the last timer's ring. He was basically saying goodbye. You know, I love you and goodbye. He didn't say he was going to look after me. He didn't say we'll see each other again. He basically said goodbye, like the English goodbye, not au revoir, which means, you know, we'll be seeing each other again. No, 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 he didn't say that. And that's probably why he's like, he was truly done with incarnating in the world, and he was also done probably with visiting people in the astral, because that's a thing too. A lot of people like to straighten out some of their feelings, karma, or whatever you want to call it, from the physical by being in the astral when the people that they love visit them in the astral. The people that they love visiting them in the astral are usually totally unconscious about it and want to be. They don't want to have their belief system turned upside down, that they are contacting their deceased people in the astral. So that's a different, it's hard to remember it for a lot of people, and it's hard for communication to get back, right? I remember those things, and I have a plan, a habit of when big things happen in the astral to hit the go back to the physical button, right? I go back as a habit. And that has saved me so many times instead of forgetting the whole situation or messing it up in some way. So, yeah, that you can definitely do that. You can go into the astral and ask to meet relatives. Yeah, so you can definitely meet your ancestors in the astral. That's where they live, that's what they're doing, and they're trying to meet you. They're meeting you in the physical. You don't know it, or you don't remember it, or it's subconscious, so you know it, but it's in your subconscious. And you do it in the astral when you are unconscious and you're sleeping. And they tell you things, but you don't always remember. So it's a bit of a difficult situation. Next time, I'm going to talk about how you can meet them in the astral, the techniques you can use to meet them in the astral, and how you can remember. Of course, you want to remember what they said because then it's not a conversation. Right. It would be like going to school, learning something in school, and then forgetting it on the way home. Right. So I'll see you next time. I'll see you in the astral. Put down your comments down below on anything about this. If you have visited anyone in the astral, if you have had strange experiences with people who have passed on, and so many people have. So drop those comments down below because I know they're there. And of course, hit the like button, subscribe so we can steamroll and grow this community. And I'll see you in the astral, people.